homeowners get home projects done well, from everyday repairs to dream remodels. Reviews, pricing, and booking are at Angie.com or on the Angie app. This is NPR.
From NPR and WBUR, I'm Deepa Fernandez in Alameda, California.
And I'm Peter O'Dowd in Phoenix. This is Here and Now. President Biden is planning to meet with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and other congressional leaders tomorrow at the White House. The goal is to raise the debt ceiling to keep the country from financial crisis. There's new urgency after Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned last week that if the debt ceiling isn't raised, the government could run out of money to pay its bills as soon as June 1st. Here's Republican Congressman Dusty Johnson, who told NPR's Steve Inskeep this morning that Republicans should be able to negotiate the debt ceiling and spending cuts at the same time.
If you're a family who gets a maxed out credit card bill, if you just pay the bill and increase the limit on credit cards without having a conversation at the family dinner table about what to do in the future, you're making a big mistake.
President Biden says the debt ceiling and spending cuts should not be linked together in these negotiations. NPR congressional correspondent Claudia Grisales joins us now. Claudia, welcome.
Hey there.
So here we are. We've been talking about this situation for months, but now there's a deadline fast approaching. Remind us again where the two sides, Biden and McCarthy, stand as they go into these talks.
Well, they stand pretty far apart and entrenched in their corners in terms of their negotiating positions. Now, we should note this is the first major meeting they're having with Republicans coming in with an opening offer. Biden and McCarthy did meet earlier this year, but House Republicans did not pass a bill that they say would be the path to lift the debt ceiling, which includes a series of spending cuts. Now, my colleague Asma Khalid spoke to a source familiar with the White House's thinking on all this, who spoke on the condition of anonymity about private conversations. And the White House has low expectations for this meeting on Tuesday, and you can be confident that the White House is reaching out to the CEOs of big financial institutions about this issue, and they argue that it's in neither side's interest to acknowledge that they're open to a short-term extension by trying to lift this debt ceiling temporarily, even though we saw reports that the White House may be open to this. But if we look at this opening offer from Republicans, their debt ceiling bill that they passed recently, they called it the Limit Save Grow Act, and Democrats have called it the House Republicans' Default on America Act, calling it a ransom note to the American people. So it's really clear how far apart these two sides are, and it will be pretty difficult for them to meet on the same page.
Right, it doesn't sound like there's any middle ground at all. But if we step back for just a moment, the debt ceiling was created by Congress. It's been raised 78 times since 1960. Why now has it become this high anxiety, deeply divided partisan fight that is leading the country to the brink of a crisis?
Right, it's just illustrative of what we're seeing today in terms of divided government plus very high partisan times in terms of seeing very extreme wings, for example, in the Republican Party with some really high demands in terms of what they're looking at for, let's say, spending cuts that they would like to see happen in return for any debt ceiling lift here. And so they're really having a struggle here that's really apparent in terms of both sides. And they can't even agree what they're meeting about. As you mentioned, Biden is saying, and Democrats are saying that the debt ceiling is not negotiable, that they'll talk about spending cuts, but Republicans are saying, no, this is all connected and negotiable. So it's just really a sign of the times in terms of how partisan things are on Capitol Hill and in terms of working with the White House.
Well, and meanwhile, the clock is ticking. The Memorial Day holiday is coming up. I believe the president's set to travel at the end of the month. What do you think about that?
Well, I will say in the past, Congress loves its deadlines. So we do have a deadline right now of June 1. And depending on how this meeting goes tomorrow, how rattled the markets may be if the progress that it's hoped for is not seen, that's only going to raise the pressure on both sides to try and see if they can have some sort of middle ground. Republicans are using this as leverage to try and get spending cuts out of lifting the debt ceiling. They want to see some wins. They want to be able to say they've gotten some wins out of these negotiations. And of course, Democrats have this ultimate goal of addressing the debt ceiling. So